There is a moment in life that almost everyone experiences, but very few people talk about. It usually happens late at night when the noise finally stops. Your phone is silent. The people who needed something from you all day have gone home. And for the first time, you are alone with your thoughts. That's when a question appears that is almost impossible to ignore. Why am I so exhausted? Not physically. Emotionally. Why do I keep giving so much of myself away and still feel empty? Why do I keep showing up for people who would never show up for me the same way? Maybe you've lent money you couldn't afford to lose. Maybe you've sacrificed opportunities because someone else needed your help. Maybe you've carried someone else's problems for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to focus on your own life. If any of that sounds familiar, then what you're about to hear could save you years of frustration and disappointment. Because there is a dangerous lie that good people often believe. They believe that helping everyone is always the right thing to do. But it isn't. Sometimes helping someone destroys them. Sometimes it destroys you. And sometimes the people asking for help are not looking for a solution at all. They're looking for a source. A source of attention. A source of money. A source of energy. A source of emotional support. And if you're not careful, they will slowly drain every good thing inside you while convincing you that you're being a good person for allowing it. Today we're talking about 5 types of people you should never help. Not because you're selfish. Not because you're cruel. But because some people will take your kindness and turn it into the weapon that ruins your peace. The first type is the professional victim. You know this person. Everyone knows this person. Life is always happening to them. Nothing is ever their fault. Every failure has a villain. Every mistake has an excuse. Every disappointment has someone else to blame. When you first meet them, your heart goes out to them. They seem wounded. Unlucky. Misunderstood. They tell stories that make you want to help. And because you have compassion, you do. You listen for hours. You offer advice. You encourage them. You remind them of their strengths. You genuinely want them to succeed. But then something strange happens. A month later, they have the exact same problem. 6 months later, the same story appears wearing different clothes. A year later, nothing has changed except the details. The boss changed. The relationship changed. The circumstances changed. But somehow the outcome stayed exactly the same. That's when you begin to realize something most people never understand. Some people are not trapped by their problems. They are protected by them. Their problems give them attention. Their problems excuse them from responsibility. Their problems allow them to stay exactly where they are without confronting the uncomfortable truth that real change requires effort. Every solution feels threatening because a solution would remove the identity they've built around suffering. And the longer you keep rescuing them, the longer you help them avoid the one thing they need most, accountability. That's why helping a professional victim often makes their life worse, not better. Every time you rescue them, you accidentally reinforce the belief that someone else will always clean up the mess. You become part of the cycle that keeps them stuck. Now let's talk about the second type of person. This one is far more dangerous because they rarely look selfish. In fact, they often look grateful. They often tell you how much they appreciate you. They know exactly how to make you feel valued. But beneath the appreciation is a pattern that slowly reveals itself over time. They borrow your time. They borrow your energy. They borrow your resources. And eventually, they start borrowing your future. At first, the requests seem reasonable. A small favor. A little support. A temporary sacrifice. Nothing serious. But then the requests become more frequent. Bigger. More demanding. And before you realize it, you've become responsible for solving problems that were never yours to carry. The frightening thing is that this doesn't happen overnight. It happens one small request at a time. One favor at a time. One sacrifice at a time. Like water slowly wearing away stone. And because you're a kind person, you don't notice the damage until years have passed. One day you wake up and realize you've spent more time building someone else's life than your own. And that's when the real pain begins. The third type of person is the one who turns your kindness into a weapon. This person doesn't just drain your energy. They damage your confidence. They damage your peace of mind. They make you question your own judgment. And the worst part is that it usually begins with good intentions. They come to you during a difficult season of their life. They're confused. Lost. Overwhelmed. Maybe they're struggling financially. Maybe their relationship is falling apart. Maybe they're facing a decision that feels impossible to make. And because you care about them, you step in. You listen carefully. You think deeply. You give them advice that comes from experience. Advice that cost you years of mistakes and lessons to learn. You genuinely want to help them avoid the pain you've already been through. They thank you. They tell you how much your support means to them. They make you feel like you've made a difference. Then they take your advice and make their decision. But life doesn't always work out the way people hope. Sometimes things fail. Sometimes risks don't pay off. Sometimes even good decisions produce bad outcomes. And when that happens, something changes. Suddenly, the gratitude disappears. Suddenly, the appreciation vanishes. Suddenly, you're no longer the person who tried to help. You're the person they blame. They say things like, "I should never have listened to you." They say, "If I hadn't followed your advice, none of this would have happened." They act as though you forced them to make their choices. And because you have a conscience, you begin carrying guilt that doesn't belong to you. You replay conversations in your head. You question your intentions. You wonder if you made a mistake. But here's the truth most people need to hear. Advice is not control. Guidance is not responsibility. You can offer someone your best wisdom, but you cannot live their life for them. The moment they make a choice, ownership belongs to them. Not you. Some people cannot tolerate responsibility because responsibility requires self-reflection. It requires admitting that their decisions contributed to their outcomes. And rather than face that uncomfortable reality, they search for someone else to blame. If you stay around people like this long enough, every failure they experience will somehow become your fault. Every disappointment will have your name attached to it. Every mistake will be redirected toward you. That isn't friendship. That isn't loyalty. That's emotional manipulation disguised as helplessness. And if you don't recognize it, you'll spend years apologizing for things you never did. Now the fourth type is perhaps the most dangerous person on this list because they rarely reveal themselves openly. In fact, they often look like one of your biggest supporters. They smile when they see you. They congratulate you when good things happen. They tell you they're happy for you. But beneath the surface, something feels wrong. You can't quite explain it. You can't point to anything specific. Yet every time you leave a conversation with them, you feel slightly smaller than before. Maybe you've experienced this. You share exciting news. You tell them about a goal you're pursuing. You tell them about a promotion, a business opportunity, or a dream you've been working toward. A genuine friend becomes excited. A genuine friend adds energy to your enthusiasm. But this person does something different. They immediately point out the risks. They highlight the obstacles. They remind you why it might fail. Not because they're trying to protect you. Because your growth makes them uncomfortable. You see, some people don't want to see you fail. They simply don't want to see you succeed beyond them. There's a difference. They are secretly measuring their worth against your progress. Every step forward you take feels like evidence that they're falling behind. Every victory you achieve reminds them of the goals they abandoned. Every improvement in your life shines a light on the areas where they've stopped growing. And because they can't compete with your discipline, your courage, or your ambition, they try to reduce your confidence instead. Not openly. Quietly. One comment at a time. One doubt at a time. One subtle criticism at a time. This is why some people feel exhausted after spending time with certain friends. The exhaustion isn't physical. It's psychological. You're carrying the weight of someone else's hidden envy. They smile with their mouth while competing with you in their mind. They clap for your success while secretly hoping you stop growing. And here's the painful truth. The people who envy you the most are often the people who know you best. They know your fears. They know your insecurities. They know your weaknesses. That's why their words carry so much power. Because they're not attacking from a distance. They're standing close enough to whisper. Think about the people in your life right now. Think about the conversations you've had recently. Who celebrates your victories without making them about themselves? Who supports your dreams without immediately listing reasons they won't work? Who leaves you feeling stronger instead of smaller? The answer to those questions reveals more than you think. Because not everyone standing beside you is standing in your corner. Some people are standing beside you so they can keep track of how far ahead you're getting. And if you're not careful, you'll spend years sharing your dreams with someone who secretly hopes they never come true. But what I'm about to tell you next is even more important. Because the fifth and final person on this list isn't just dangerous. They're heartbreaking. They're the type of person that destroys good people from the inside out. And most people don't realize it until they've already sacrificed years trying to save them. The fifth and final type of person is the one who wants to be rescued but refuses to save themselves. This is the person who will break your heart if you let them. Not because they're evil. Not because they're intentionally trying to hurt you. But because no amount of love can heal someone who has decided to remain where they are. This person often carries real pain. Real trauma. Real wounds. They are not pretending. Their suffering is genuine. That's what makes them so difficult to walk away from. You see their potential. You see who they could become. You see the strength hidden beneath the fear. And because you see it, you convince yourself that if you just love them a little more, support them a little longer, sacrifice a little more of yourself, eventually they'll change. Eventually they'll rise. Eventually they'll become the person you know they can be. So you stay. You encourage. You rescue. You forgive. You give second chances, then third chances, then 10th chances. Every time they fall, you catch them. Every time they fail, you rebuild them. Every time they return to the same destructive habits, you tell yourself this time will be different. But it never is. Months become years. Years become a significant part of your life. And one day, something frightening happens. You realize that while you've been trying to save them, nobody has been saving you. While you've been carrying their burdens, your own dreams have been sitting untouched. While you've been helping them survive, you've forgotten how to live. This is the trap that destroys the strongest people. Not hatred. Not betrayal. Not failure. The belief that they can save someone who refuses to participate in their own rescue. Imagine standing beside a river. You see someone struggling in the water. Naturally, you jump in to help. You pull them to shore. Moments later, they walk right back into the river. Again and again this happens. At first, your actions are noble. But eventually a question must be asked. Are you helping them? Or are you simply making it easier for them to continue making the same choices? Because sometimes the consequence you're protecting them from is the very thing that would have finally changed them. Sometimes the pain they're avoiding is the lesson they desperately need to learn. And sometimes your endless rescuing becomes the obstacle standing between them and their growth. This brings us to the hardest truth in this entire video. A truth most people spend years trying to avoid. Not everyone who asks for help actually wants help. Let that sink in for a moment. Not everyone who asks for help wants transformation. Some want comfort. Some want validation. Some want attention. Some want someone else to carry responsibilities they don't want to carry themselves. And if you're a naturally compassionate person, this realization feels almost cruel. Because you've spent your life believing that helping people is always the right thing to do. But wisdom teaches a different lesson. Wisdom teaches that helping the wrong person can become a form of self-destruction. Wisdom teaches that boundaries are not walls. They are doors with locks. They allow the right people in while keeping the wrong people from taking over your life. The most generous people often struggle with this because they confuse boundaries with selfishness. They think saying no makes them a bad person. They think protecting their energy makes them unkind. But imagine a well that never stops giving water. Day after day, year after year, people take from it without limit. Eventually the well runs dry. And when it does, it can no longer help anyone. Not because it became selfish. Because it was never replenished. Now let's step back and look at these 5 people together. The professional victim teaches you that some people are more committed to their excuses than their growth. The borrower of dreams teaches you that some people will gladly build their future using pieces of yours. The blamer teaches you that some people would rather sacrifice your peace than accept responsibility. The silent competitor teaches you that not everyone applauding you wants you to win. And the person who refuses to save themselves teaches you that love alone cannot transform someone who refuses to change. But here's where the story takes an unexpected turn. Because this video isn't really about them. It's about you. It's about the version of you that keeps saying yes when every part of your soul wants to say no. It's about the version of you that believes your worth comes from being needed. It's about the version of you that feels guilty whenever you choose yourself. Many people watching this have spent years trying to earn love through sacrifice. They believe that if they give enough, help enough, forgive enough, eventually they'll be valued. Eventually they'll be appreciated. Eventually they'll receive the same loyalty they've been giving away. But life doesn't work that way. People who value you don't need to be convinced to value you. People who care about you don't need to be trained to care about you. The right people don't merely take from your life. They add to it. They check on you when they don't need anything. They celebrate your victories without jealousy. They support your growth without feeling threatened. They show up when it's inconvenient. They make you feel lighter, not heavier. Think about that for a moment. How many people in your life leave you feeling energized after spending time with them? How many people genuinely care about your well-being? How many people would notice if you stopped carrying everything for everyone else? Because those are the relationships that deserve your time. Those are the relationships that deserve your energy. Those are the people who deserve access to the best parts of you. And now I want you to do something uncomfortable. Think of one face. Just one. As you've listened to this video, someone has probably appeared in your mind more than once. Someone whose name kept returning no matter how hard you tried to focus on something else. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a family member. Maybe it's someone you've loved for years. Maybe it's someone you've been making excuses for longer than you'd like to admit. Now ask yourself a question. What would your life feel like if you stopped giving that person what they have never earned? Not what would happen to them. What would happen to you? How much peace would return? How much energy would come back? How many opportunities would suddenly become possible? How much healing could finally begin? Because the most important lesson you'll ever learn is this. You cannot save everyone. You were never supposed to. You are not a hospital for broken people. You are not an endless supply of time, energy, money, patience, and sacrifice. You are a human being. And your life matters too. The moment you stop trying to rescue everyone is often the moment you finally begin rescuing yourself. And that isn't selfish. It's the beginning of wisdom. It's the beginning of freedom. And for many people, it's the beginning of the life they should have been living all along. And before we go any further, if this message is resonating with you, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Not because it helps the algorithm, although it does. But because these are conversations most people never hear until they've already lost years of their lives trying to save the wrong people. If you've recognized even one person in today's video, then you're already seeing patterns that many people spend decades ignoring. And if you're committed to protecting your peace, strengthening your mind, and learning the truths that most people discover too late, subscribe now and join us on this journey. Now let's continue, because what comes next may be the most important realization of all.